am here with my mom, Jill, and we are talking about how long can goods last, okay? Now, this question we get every single day, so I am just gonna go through our whole list. We have a brand new prepper cookbook. It is free in the description below. All these are listed in there, so you can go get them, but you might wanna listen to the explanation because some of these take a little bit of explanation as to why they last longer and why they don't. Now, little disclaimer here. This is a beginner's prepping, okay? Don't sit there and tell me how I'm not using Mylar bags and oxygen absorbers, which on one of my videos, every single day I get that comment. This is a beginner prepping video.
We don't have time to go into extreme detail.
Exactly.
Like this one.
And Mom was just saying about the canned jars, like with white rice, dry canning white rice, dry canning flour. Why would you not want to do that?
Well, the thing is, rice lasts forever, just in its regular original package, a long, long time. So what I would rather do is just store it, make my life easier, just store it in the bags in maybe a cat litter container or a metal tin thing, and use my canning jars instead for something that won't store as long as rice, and use my energy to can stuff that won't store as long as rice.
Personally, I think it's a waste of time and energy to can things like rice and flour. Now, there are occasions where that would be useful. Like I have a friend, his name's Rob, Little House Off Grid. They have a 200 square foot tiny house. They're canning their rice and they're putting it out in their well house.
Okay, yeah. Now see, that would be the exception.
That's a situation where you would do that.
Yeah.
But the average family is not living in a 200 square foot tiny house off grid. So these are not tips for
the
advanced preppers exception. These are tips for the normal average American family, okay? Number one, beef jerky. It usually lasts 1 to 2 years. Look at the expiration date. This is one of those items that I would watch the expiration date and really not go. You could maybe go 3 to 6 months past the expiration date, but I really probably wouldn't go further than that for beef jerky.
It lasts longer than regular meat, but it does go rancid. Yeah. That's why it doesn't go.
The oils in the meat spoil is what happens. And you'll know if it's spoiled because it smells really bad. If it doesn't smell like just beef jerky, throw it out. Yeah. It's gone bad. White rice will last indefinitely, but like Mom said at the beginning of the video, we don't waste time vacuum sealing it or canning it or anything like that. It's cheap enough and it lasts long enough just in the bags alone that for us, just in the regular storage, it's not really worth doing all of that.
Yeah.
Also, along with the white rice, don't stockpile brown rice. It goes rancid,
it goes
like
rancid.
in 6 months.
Yeah.
So don't stockpile brown rice. Peanut butter. Peanut butter lasts about 2 years. Watch the expiration date. I know I've had story after person saying, I ate peanut butter that was 10 years old. Listen, peanut butter will go a little while and you could probably even get 2 or 3 years maybe, but the oils, once again, in peanut butter spoil. They go rancid. It's nasty.
And sometimes the more expensive peanut butter might last a little bit longer just because the canning process is probably a little more, a little better.
Canned dried peanut butter would be a better substitution for your long-term storage. Honey lasts indefinitely. Honey never goes bad. If it crystallizes, just warm it up. You can microwave it. Listen, in an emergency situation and you actually have power, go ahead and just microwave it. I know it kills some of the enzymes and all of the good stuff, but if you need to, however you need to warm up your honey, just warm it up. You can just scoop out the crystals, use the crystals like you would sugar if you need to in your tea or whatever, also your oatmeal.
Yeah. And you put it in boiling water, set the container in a boiling water if you don't have power and you're just having, like a wood burning stove or something, and that'll help. Yep.
Dark chocolate, it lasts 2 to 5 years. Milk chocolate, 1 to 3 years. If you see white around the chocolate,
it lasts 2 days in my house.
It's not spoiled.
Yeah.
It's just the cocoa butter separated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know who's going to have chocolate hang around for 3 years. You got to have some kind of weird, but what, you know. Coffee lasts up to 25 years. Coffee lasts forever. It doesn't really
Especially
spoil.
if it's sealed.
Yep. Spices like bouillon cubes, those will last several years. 3, 4, 5 years. They'll last quite a while. 2 to 3 years is average. But the little cubes, it just depends on what you get. The cubes will last probably 4 or 5 years. I put 2 to 3 years in the book just on the safe side for the flavor part of it. But, you know, around there. Salt, indefinitely.
Yeah. It never goes bad.
Salt never goes bad. Powdered milk, 1 to 5 years for the freshest, but it can last quite a while. Powdered dry skim milk will last a long time. Now, there is powdered whole milk, which is a different ball game, and that only lasts 1 to 2 years. But the oils in the powdered whole milk will go bad. Now, in our prepper cookbook, we have, I don't know, 10, 15 recipes on how to use dry milk. You can make everything: cheese, cream cheese, pudding, cocoa, and just regular milk for baking. All of that is in the recipes in the book.
And those are good ideas that we have in the book because you want to rotate this stuff. And those are some ideas you never thought of, you know, like cocoa and stuff like that to use to rotate it.
Bottled water, it should last indefinitely. You know, bottled water, as long as it's bottled and the seal is intact. Now, you can store up your own tap water. Milk jugs don't work as well as 2-liter bottles.
Yeah.
Milk jugs are made to break down. And so what we do is we refill 2-liter bottles of soda bottles.
And if you're worried about it not staying fresh or whatever, what I do is in the summer, I use those 2-liter bottles to water my plants and refill them, and they last. And then next
every
summer,
6 months. At the beginning of the summer, I water all my plants with them, and at the beginning of the fall, I water all my plants with them, and I just rotate it that way.
And just rotate it out.
And then I also keep them in a tote so that if something happens to spill over or happens to, for some reason, start leaking, then it's not leaking all over my basement.
I keep all my canned goods in a cardboard flat, you know, like you see at the grocery store that they come in. I keep them sitting in those in case something would leak, you know, or I need to take a whole bunch out. I don't have to do 1 can at a time.
Sugar, indefinite. I mean, sugar will last 25 years.
Yeah. And if it gets hard, don't worry about it. Just grate it off. That's the way they used to always sell it, was hard, you know, hard lump.
Yeah, and if you have a problem with ants, store it someplace, a 5-gallon container, you know, those big cat litter containers, clean those out. I just store them. People say, oh, that's gross, Tara. It's just clay.
Yeah.
All cat litter is clay. So first of all, there's nothing gross about it. It's not used cat litter, but I just store my sugar bags in those, and then I don't have a problem with ants or bugs or anything. Dried pasta. Dried pasta goes 1 to 2 years. You might be able to squeak by 3.
It's kind of like flour, you know, the same amount as like flour.
Look at the date on the pasta, and I really wouldn't go past 1 or 2 years past the date on the pasta is what I would do. Dry beans, they last indefinitely.
They're like rice.
Yeah.
That's why rice and beans are 2 of the most popular things to have.
Yeah. Because all you have to do is just soak them overnight. Now it's going to be a little bit of work. The recipe's in the book. Soak them, drain it off, soak them again, boil them. And you're going to have to boil them all day long. And beans get harder the older they are. So you're going to have to cook them a lot longer, you know, the older they are. But they will last indefinitely. Canned soups and chilies. Now, they go about 3 to 5 years past the date on the can for freshness, but they will last about 10 years in the can.
Yeah.
Canned meat, same thing, 3 to 5 years, but they will go up to 10 years on that. Now, canned vegetables, 1 to 2 years, the best by date, but they go up to 10 years. Now, on all these canned meats, vegetables, soups, all of that, here's what you need to know on canned goods. Botulism happens when the seal is broken and you see your can bulging.
Mm-hmm.
If it's bulging, you know that there is bacteria in that can. Do not eat it.
That's how you'll know.
Just don't eat it. Dented cans. I wouldn't use a dented can. Now, if it's just like the top rim or something that's just a little bit dented, that's probably okay.
And I would use it right away.
I would use it right away, but don't use dented cans either, because you never know when that dent went clear through and punctured the seal on the can. So if it's bulging or dented or rusted or anything like that, do not eat that canned food. That is when you get the food poisoning. Otherwise, most canned goods last up to 10 years.
Yeah, at least. And I don't recommend doing this, but I know people of my mom's generation, 25 years later, they were eating canned goods. Now, I don't recommend that necessarily, but they did. They had 25-year-old canned goods that they would think nothing of eating, as long as it wasn't dented, you know, and bulging.
Yeah. We just moved, and this is 2021, and right before we moved, I was using up as much of my canned goods and that kind of thing, and we were eating canned goods from 2013.
Yeah.
Nobody knew any different.
Yeah.
8 years old, past the expiration date, which means I had those canned goods 10 to 12 years. Because usually the expiration date is 2 to 3 years past when you buy it. So.
Well, to put this in perspective for you, up until, I don't know when they came out, the early 1980s or something, when they started doing expiration dates, we didn't have expiration dates. You had no idea how old that can stuff was that you bought at the grocery store, or how long you'd had it in the cupboard, or grandma. We just ate it. The main thing was, if the can wasn't bulging or dented, you ate it. And we had no clue. So that's why I'm saying, you know, you might use wisdom a little bit, but at the same time, don't panic over this.
And if you're given canned goods from someone, so people, you know, canning isn't a big thing nowadays. So let's say you're given canned goods from somebody and you're like, well, how do I know if it's safe or not? Okay, when you push on the top, if you hear a noise, don't use it, because that seal, when you go to push on it, should not move. It should be vacuumed down, and that seal should not move. So if you push on the top,
it goes poppity pop like.
Yep, it goes. I don't know. One of my canners send me a video of it. But if your seal is broken on the top, do not use those home canned goods. That's how you know. Home canned goods should be used. There's my 20. Home canned goods should be used in about 1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
I went to a garage sale the other day and saw canned goods from 1980. Canned green beans. I almost bought them just for the crazy factor. But if they're home canned from 1980, don't be eating them.
No.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that. So, guys, go watch our video on 15 things to stockpile before hyperinflation hits. Also, our free prepper cookbook. Down in the description below, all of these are listed in it. You can go to livingonadime.com. We will see you guys next time.